USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2016 U.S. Open Ultimate Championship. And today, from Meade Stadium on the campus of the University of Rhode Island, the mixed semifinal begins. 4 straight semifinals that all should be fantastic. The Triple Crown Tour begins with this semifinal between the 2 finalists in the mixed division from Nationals last year. Seattle Mixtape, Minneapolis Drag'n Thrust. You got Metro North and Slow White, Connecticut, and Boston on the other side of the bracket. Club is here, and we are excited about it. Hi again, everybody. Delighted to be with Ian Toner. I'm Evan Lepler, and a week ago in London, we saw the United States dominate at the World Championships, and now we find out where all those great players have come from and who is genuinely the best. And today, Seattle and Minnesota, no strangers to this big stage.
That's right, Evan. Both of these teams meeting in the 2014 and 2015 national championships. Some of these rosters shaping off a different kind of rust. They've got some gold medalists on both teams trying to get back into the swing of things with their club teams.
It's going to be fascinating to watch this unfold, especially a team like Seattle Mixtape, which has had very little turnover. Jesse Bolton is the only new player on the team who didn't play at all with Mixtape in the past, and they've got all the familiar names that made plays in the past too.
And you have to think that that low turnover gave them an edge coming into this tournament. You see them going 5-0, unbeaten in pool play, whereas Drag'n Thrust, on the other hand, facing a few hiccups along the way, getting to this semifinal.
Seattle led by none other than Khalif El-Salam, a gold medalist from the USA mixed team in London, a great college player with the University of Washington. How does he adapt his game to play mixed?
A great question. Mixed has been, he's openly expressed that mixed has been his favorite division and his preference. He likes the strategy of working with both genders, working with the strength of different teammates, and putting them all together on the field.
On the other side of the field, you have several gold medalists from nationals and world championships. Drag'n Thrust, the 3-time defending champ. That's never been done before in the mixed division. Their head coach, Jake Henderson, is absent this weekend. Tallis Boyd, a former player, stepping in. And one of Khalif El-Salam's teammates in London last week, Sarah Mextroff, really coming into her own as a player.
She's been on the scene for a number of years now, started making an impact when she won a gold medal with the under-23 mixed team back in 2013. She led the mixed team in goals in London last week. Watch for her to find the end zone today.
Well, Drag'n Thrust and Mixtape have had quite a rivalry. It was Mixtape that got the better of Drag'n in the semifinals at this tournament last year. We'll see who can advance to Championship Monday on this 4th of July weekend in Rhode Island. Opening poll coming up from URI. The 2016 U.S. Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar is now available at over 1,900 U.S. retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett Sports stores. By Discover Newport. Choose your own adventure in Newport, Rhode Island. Get the inside scoop on where to stay and where to play at discovernewport.org. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play Ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. Let's check out the starting lineup for Seattle Mixtape. Claire Revere, a name very familiar to those who watch the college championship. She was a star for the Whitman Sweets. And of course, Brad Hauser, one of the captains with Barker, Wynn, Williams, Walton, and Dare. Charlie Mercer has a dual role this season, really about 10 roles in the Ultimate community. We'll talk about that as the day progresses here in Rhode Island. And Minneapolis Drag'n Thrust with Tallis Boyd at the helm. Jake Henderson watching for sure from afar. Hey, congrats to Martha and Austin Lean. They got married, the former Martha Harris, in the starting lineup with her husband, along with Greg Aronson, a new member of the team, Mike Clark, Josh Hemmis, and both Sarahs starred on USA Mixed in London. And we'll be talking a lot about the World Championships here in Rhode Island. Ian, they're so fresh in everyone's mind. The United States going 45-0, and I had the privilege to be over there. It was a thrill and an honor to witness Ultimate all around the world and to see what the best players in the United States can do.
And I think it's a testament to the depth and involvement and commitment to the USA youth programs that year after year iteration after iteration of these world championships, the U.S. is always able to send dominant squads in every division from top to bottom. They're able to refill that talent pool, draw from players who have grown up in hotbeds, smaller communities, and really refine their game to be able to contribute on that international stage.
While in London, some of the people I got to visit with were the defending U.S. Open mixed champs from Melbourne in Australia, Ellipsis, knocking off both these teams at the U.S. Open in 2015. Obviously, there'll be a new champion this year, and in the black jerseys, it's Drag'n Thrust, beginning with the disc.
All right, game on.
Both these teams, Ian, have had some trouble in the opening half. It's amazing that Seattle Mixtape's gone 5-0, because Brad Hauser, their captain, said we probably have a negative point diff in the first half this week, and they were down in several games, and that includes the great start they got off to in the first game against Ambiguous. And there's a shot over the top for the opening score. It was Ancio who lofted the hammer, and it was hauled in by Drag'n Thrust's Greg Aronson.
That's something you're going to expect to see from Greg Aronson. A big downfield threat in his college days when he played for Minnesota Grey Duck. And this hammer definitely helixes and comes back over a little bit more than Ancio wanted, but a receiver like Aronson with a slight height advantage, it's a higher percentage throw than some might think on first release.
Pretty good offensive flow from Minneapolis on the first possession. Both these teams certainly come into this game with plenty of confidence. They've had a pretty good rivalry through the years. It was Cam Bailey bidding there at the end for Seattle. Both these teams have had a good amount of time to practice before the season. It's been a few weeks, 6-7 practices for Drag'n Thrust, and the Seattle team started practicing all the way back in March. They've had 12-13 practices leading up to the U.S. Open. One of the big questions coming into this game is how the Dragon defense would match up. Khalif El Salam, capable of doing it all. He'll catch the pull and center the disc. Drescher's on El Salam, and wow, second throw from Khalif right into the ground.
He was looking for Claire Revere there. Not sure if she was anticipating the throw to come in at a slightly different angle, but just out of bidding distance for Revere.
Here's Drescher on the under. Plays like a torpedo on the field, a gutsy shot, and it's well read. Brian Schoenrock hauls it in for the game's first break.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tallis Boyd has a few words for Jay Drescher after he comes off after that point. Let's take a look back here at this first throw from El Salam. Probably not where he wanted that to go, and then Jay Drescher sizing up his options and decides that a floaty blade over the top of the stack is the best look. Thank God his teammate was there to read that. More often than not, a really challenging throw that goes across the top of the stack, giving multiple defenders a chance to make a play on it. It's not going to be completed, but as we see here, Drescher releases. And Drag'n Thrust is able to haul in the score. That's Brian Schoenrock.
So a break at the outset for Drag'n Thrust. Brian Schoenrock, they call him Strings. Had a play for the highlight reels at the club championships last year, skying for a score. Well, the tournament began with an abrupt start. They were knocked off by Connecticut's Metro North in the opening game. And that was really Metro North announcing to the field, hey, we are ready to compete with the best.
Metro North, one of those mixed powerhouses rising from the ashes of the old District 5 teams that had made mixed finals appearances a few years ago.
Gigantic flick huck is a beauty, and it's missed timed on the jump. That was Seattle's Brad Hauser just going up a little too early, and it's a turnover. Really good-looking field here at Meade Stadium, the home of URI football, is the layout D from Khalif El Salam. A quick glimpse into his athleticism.
It almost looked like he baited that throw. Hesitated for a split second to close the gap on his receiver.
El Salam shoots and cannot score.
And that's an interesting result from that throw, because it looked like it was going to be on target for the majority of the trajectory. And this is one of the challenges of, as we see it pick up, it catches a gust of wind at that last second and sails over the top of the receiver's head. That's one of the challenges of playing in a stadium. You know, for all the talk about traditional tournament wide open field settings about upwind, downwind, or crosswind games, when you're in a stadium, there are gusts and swirls that can come in from out of nowhere that throwers aren't necessarily able to judge at the point of release.
And it's always an adjustment that players have to make, often midway through a tournament. You see Linda Kudo, the head observer. Saw her as a game advisor in London last week, and well, this has been a turnover-filled third point.
10.
El Salam marked by Schoenrock. Hauser. And now Revere. And miscommunication there. El Salam was bolting toward the end zone. Schoenrock with the gift D. Oh. Well, fair to say they're not in their Nationals form quite yet.
Definitely an early season tournament for both teams.
Try for the hammer, but it was too far. Overshooting El Salam, and that's tough to do. Cavallero did not put enough float on it. He had plenty of space to work with near that sideline.
Khalif certainly sold out. Just couldn't quite close his hand on it.
7 turnovers already on this third point. The wind is not a huge factor, but you mentioned the stadium and the different tunnels of breeze that they're having to deal with. A pick downfield, halts play for a moment.
Yeah, the stadiums just make it so much more unpredictable and challenging for a thrower. I think if you're in a wide open field setting, you can count on, yes, I know how this crosswind is going to impact my throw, but not the same case in stadiums as we see a deep shot go up here.
Landing incomplete. After only 1 turnover on the first 2 points, Ian, 8 so far on this third point. Both teams are doing a pretty nice job using space and creating space for each other. Another deep try into traffic, and it floats over Schoenrock and into the grasp of El Salam for the Seattle score.
Schoenrock's going to be kicking himself as he goes back to the sidelines there. Had a hand on it. We think back to the words of wisdom from the ultimate community of catch your blocks. This is exhibit 1A in that category.
And there's a lot of examples through the years through a tournament like this. One thing that the players have had to adjust to, it has been pretty windy, especially in the afternoons here in Rhode Island the past couple of days, but El Salam gets Mixtape on the board. Brad Hauser with a shot. Worth mentioning that both these teams are missing a few key pieces that will be joining them for the majority of the season. Drag'n Thrust is without Jeff Trosvig. You can remember his laser beam flick from past seasons, and also Jimmy Kittleson, a new player, but has a pretty good reputation in the Twin Cities area of being a strong contributor. The Seattle team has had a pretty small roster this weekend. They're missing Drew and Cole Johnson, the brother-sister combo that played for the team a couple years ago, returning this year, and Evan Klein, who's getting married in a couple of weeks. He has already offered his services as color analyst on Twitter, but Ian Toner is here, so I think we have all the analysis we need.
Evan and I were opponents in college. He attended Virginia Tech, and I went to the University of Virginia. So I'd be happy to battle him once again for this spot if I had to.
Well, this is a tough break for Mixtape because the pull never came back inbounds, landing right on the line. So almost at the reverse brick in the red zone already is where Austin Lean initiates play. And two throws into the end zone, contested but caught. It's Austin Lean, the Drag'n Thrust veteran, his 8th year on the team, and he's got the goal to make it 3-1. A little give and go.
Lean just an anchor of this offense in the red zone. He gives, and then that's a really challenging inside-out throw. The window is very small, especially with this wind. Really easy for that disc to pick up and carry a bit more than the thrower wanted, which I think it did, but Lean does a great job just following the trajectory, attacking as early as he can, sustains some contact, and comes down with the goal.
Cam Bailey nearby. Two veterans, Bailey in his 9th year with Mixtape, Austin Lean, one of the longtime leaders of Minneapolis Drag'n Thrust. His brother Jacob is in his 3rd year on the team as well. And here's the initial pull, and you can see it just barely missed coming back in bounds, and you know that matter of inches, so vital and critical. The line is out.
Good to clarify for our viewers, we did see it knock the pylon over, but it did nick the line before hitting that pylon.
First cut for Brad Hauser. You have Emily Regan downfield chasing Claire Revere, and there's a layout bid. That's Erica Bacon. Bacon, a quick give and go. Marked by Lucy Williams, and a pick downfield. The throw will go back. Worth mentioning, at least at the outset, you could not ask for a nicer day. Brilliant sunshine, pleasant temperatures, and spectacular layouts.
And I think that throw is a little further inside than the receiver was anticipating.
Here's Austin's younger brother, Jacob. Jay Drescher.
Here's a matchup to watch, Evan. Drescher and El Salam. Drescher salivates over that.
Oh, and just as easily as she got the D, Bacon with the uncharacteristic drop. El Salam unmarked for the moment. Now Drescher approaches and he resets. Grace Noah. Underneath, this is Dan Walton looking long, the disc knuckling, and it's caught by El Salam, who sent a little message with a drop of the disc there on Drescher. And you can see a little testiness early in this mixed semifinal between those two.
Well, Drescher and El Salam have battled for years. Drescher known for being a very physical and intense defender, and I think El Salam looking to send a message and let him know that he's not giving up all game. little surprising to see him do that little half spike on Drescher after he scored, though. Not the most sportsmanlike move on his part.
I think you could say both players were guilty of unsportsmanlike decisions there. Both the attack on the body from Drescher, which in my opinion, this is the flaw in the ultimate rules. There needs to be some consequence for Drescher throwing himself into Salam's back there, because that's a foul. And you see the disc sort of fall, and Khalif immediately had some words, and then Jay Drescher got up, certainly not going to shy away. I'm not sure if the observers had looked away or if there was a card or a TMF issued there, but you know, that's something that early in the game probably needs to be dealt with.
Agreed. That's where they need to kind of assert a bit more influence over the conduct and set the tone and understand, make it clear for the players to understand exactly what's going to be tolerated.
Certainly raises the intensity a little bit for everyone involved. There's Sarah Ancio, member of the USA women's team, part of that delegation that went 45-0 at WUGC last week in London. Not that there was much doubt, but the United States officially securing a spot in the World Games, which will be next summer, the summer of 2017 in Wrocław, Poland. 6 countries qualify, really 5 qualify, because the host team, Poland, gets a bid. United States, Canada, Colombia, Japan, Australia, and Poland will be battling at the World Games in Poland about a year from now.
Bit disappointing for the GB delegation.
Certainly.
A golden opportunity for them hosting 2016 WUGC, having a lot of time to prepare and field competitive teams, and unable to earn one of those spots.
Nice inside shot, and Drag'n Thrust with a turnover free score to go up 4-2.
A good junk transition look from the Seattle team in the first half of that point. A nice push pass there from Mextroth, getting out of a sticky situation. And Aronson's there for the inside shot. So difficult to defend in the red zone. You've got so much horizontal responsibility with capable throwers who can break the mark in tight spaces. Josh
Hemish, the veteran, in his 7th year with Drag'n Thrust at 32 years old now. Nice shot to Aronson, the Drag'n Thrust rookie. University of Minnesota product, 2013. What a year it has been for Minnesota Ultimate. College championships, Tallis Boyd leading Minnesota Grey Duck all the way, in several dramatic moments past Pittsburgh in the semifinals late into the night, and then on championship Memorial Day Monday in Raleigh, Minnesota, over John Stubbs and Mark Vanderberg with Harvard. We'll see both Stubbs and Vanderberg later tonight with Boston Ironside. You see the results in Pool A. Metro North got off to the brilliant start.
Nick McCain on the pull for Dragon.
And clinching the pool as a result of their win over Dragon on Friday morning. Interestingly, El Salam begins the point as a handler like he's done every time, but he has scored both Seattle goals so far. Now Salam going downfield, and Walton. Is it a turf if you're playing on grass? I think you'd say he turfed it.
It's fine in my book.
This is a brilliant grass surface, but he just launched that right into it. And a timeout called by Jake McCain. Maybe halfway through the stall count, but he didn't see anything. So they will talk it over, trying to go up another break here in the first half. You see Tallis Boyd. It has been a fun couple months for him since winning a national title. He was telling us that he and his assistant coach, Dave Eddy, who recently moved to Baltimore, still text each other every now and again and say, hey, we won nationals. Just it's a text of disbelief. They still, even though they've watched the film too many times, perhaps never enough.
And it couldn't have happened to a better program. They've had so many ups and downs to try and build their legacy. A few years when they've been heavy favorites and failing to qualify for the national championships. Ultimately getting over the hump, living up to the expectations, defying expectations after a number of players have been injured and lost due to other reasons, and got a gold medal to show for their efforts.
I think that is really the biggest storyline from just that global picture of Minnesota Grey Duck 2016, to win it despite all of the injuries and despite the 2-2 record in pool play. Of course, they were in that wild Pool D where, you know, everyone was still alive virtually. Out of the timeout to the end zone, Drag'n Thrust finds Danny Collum. One throw to make it 5-2.
Jake McCain finds Danny Collum in the end zone for the Drag'n Thrust score.
Great hops by Collum here.
Seattle 2.
As he leaps just outside the goal line, maintains his position, keeps Walton on his back, and comes down with it. And that's a big break for Drag'n Thrust, now in the driver's seat in this game.
What do you see that mark doing right there for Seattle?
I think the mark started to shift over in anticipation of a dump behind the thrower where they might need to switch off of the current thrower and cut down that break lane for the second thrower who would receive that dump pass behind the initial thrower.
I think you're absolutely right. It looked like he was kind of forcing flick at the start of the stall count when it resumed, and then just went into more of that straight up and opened up that easy break, if you want to call it that, to the near side of the field for Collum.
To be fair, if I'm Mixtape, looking back at that point, obviously upset about the turnover, not happy to have given up that break. But that break throw couldn't have gone in too many other places for it to work and convert in the way that it did. So to force them to work that hard and have to make that spectacular a play to convert the break, not the worst outcome.
Put it in play from the break mark.
See if Seattle's offense can avoid the unforced errors that have plagued them so far. This is Bailey with a backwards cap, gets a quick reset. Hauser. Bailey looking for the high release flick. Drescher and El Salam are there, and it's El Salam climbing the ladder over the top of Drescher. He picks up the spectacular assist for Seattle.
This is exactly what Khalif El Salam is known for. 50-50 ball, give him a chance. He's going to win it 9 times out of 10. Doesn't matter if you've got arguably the best defender in the mixed division, Jay Drescher, going up against him. El Salam with the better read, the execution, and the easy finish for the Mixtape hold.
You could say you don't want to rely on 50-50s, but when you have El Salam, they're more like 70-30s. We have seen him do this before.
An explosive player. And it's almost like he wasn't even fazed by the pressure from Drescher there. Just another routine grab for Khalif.
Well, he does not lack confidence, Mr. El Salam, and you know, certainly you make Team USA, you go to Worlds, you win a gold medal, then you return back to your club team. You have a different level of confidence about you after that experience, and you experienced that too, Ian, a member of the U23 USA team a couple years ago. How did your confidence evolve after that experience?
I think there was a point in time where I realized I hadn't been in high pressure situations before, and having taken the field and having represented my country, when I can go back to a high pressure game at a club national setting, I can draw on the experience and say, hey, I know how this has felt before. This isn't something new or something that needs to overwhelm me. I know how to maintain composure and get myself through this situation.
This is one of the Drag'n Thrust newcomers, Chip Chang. Very reliable handler. 24 years old, from the Los Angeles area. Out of UC San Diego and UCLA. Has previously played with LA Seven Figures and LA Viva. Mixtape on the near side. Ancio bids and scores.
A golden connection, if you will, between Mixtape, the goals leader, and the USA mixed delegation. A pinpoint hammer to Sarah Ancio, one of the powerful cutters on the USA women's team. Speaks to the development of Mixtape as a player and thrower. The stall count's rising. She's surveying a number of options. There are people crowding the dump space, trying to figure out what the next best option is. And a pinpoint hammer is the decision, and executed perfectly.
I think a lot of people have wondered for a while, how has Drag'n Thrust won 3 consecutive national titles? And perhaps the perception has been, oh, they practice a lot. They really focus on mix. They take it so seriously. And that's all true. But they also have 3 of perhaps the top 30 or 35 women players in the United States, in Ancio, Mixtape, and Bacon, who are all a part of the USA delegation. And that is a huge difference from everyone else in the mixed division.
Exactly. You don't see that on any of the other mixed division teams. Perhaps in the women's division, you might see 6 or 7 Riot players facing off against 6 or 7 Molly Brown players, like we're going to see later today. But no one else in the mixed division can tout that experience and depth and top-end talent.
So the pressure back on Seattle's shoulders, trying to avoid getting broken again. Half times at 8. Pretty good pace to this first half, except for that one point that had 7 turnovers. That was a 2-0, ended with the El Salam score to get Seattle on the board.
I think both teams would like to forget that one.
El Salam hits Revere, marked by Regan. Be interesting to see if Seattle Mixtape can get Revere involved a little bit more, because you watch Ultimate enough, you can tell what she's capable of.
Yeah, she's been fairly quiet so far this first half. Coach Charlie Mercer explaining that it's a deliberate strategy to play her only on the offensive line to keep her fresh.
Tough grab there, pressured by Drag'n Thrust, and to the end zone. It continues to float. El Salam catches it for the score. Well, Jay Drescher has been involved in everything here, but so far it's been El Salam getting the better of the matchup.
That was definitely not the intended receiver when the throw went up. And so we see the great grab to save possession in the dump space.
Nick Dare launching it to a pack.
And a number of players converging. I think Drescher, as the defender, felt the only option he had was to attack as early as possible. He knew El Salam was on his back. And ultimately, Khalif just avoids all the contact and reels it in.
Was it fair to call this first half performance from Khalif El Salam a little Stubbsian? He's got an assist and 3 goals. He's been involved in all 4 Seattle scores.
I'd like to see him play a bit more defense, and then I'll be sold on that qualification.
That's fair. That is completely fair. So Mixtape hasn't forced a lot of Ds in this game, but they're still within 2. A great handler defense here from Seattle. Finally a reset to Hemish, who launches. He's got a man deep. Mike Clark tosses to Sarah Mextroff, and it's 7-4 just like that.
Minneapolis offense having a much easier go on their offensive points than the Seattle Mixtape offense so far in this first half. A nice deep shot. Clark is there on the goal line. Easy finish to Mextroff.
These two teams have only had 1 turnover combined over the last 6 points now. And Hemish just saw Clark behind all the defenders and let it rip. First goal for Mextroff, who won a championship at Beach Nationals back in May with the Rockford Beaches as well.
A great event down in Virginia Beach. That was the
great for you.
Second, yeah. Our team and the Warhawks did take home the gold medal in the men's division, but the Virginia Beach venue has such a great setting. You're right on the boardwalk there. You're able to draw in more spectators than normal, and great atmosphere. Love to see that event continue to grow over the coming years.
Sarah Mextroff was actually a star badminton player in high school. She was 3rd in the state. Her school had a varsity badminton team. She also was a Nordic skier in high school growing up in Minnesota. She grew up in Eden Prairie and has certainly transitioned well to ultimate. Don't play badminton with Sarah Mextroff at a 4th of July barbecue. She will trounce you. You've been warned. Oh, El Salam, a chance to do something spectacular. He turned on the jets to get there with ease. You can see the little giddy up there from Khalif El Salam.
Really turned on the afterburners as soon as that throw went up.
That's Minneapolis 7, Seattle 5.
Revere throws the up line. And this throw is right on the money. It's blading to the break side, so even if Drescher was step for step with El Salam, I don't think he would have been able to make a play on it, just because that's blading further and further away from Drescher's path.
You think he was expecting to get there standing here when this disc went up?
I think a confident player like Salam believes anything is possible as soon as the disc goes up.
Well, the streak continues. He has been involved in every Seattle goal thus far. Now you see Minneapolis the 1 seed, Seattle the 2 seed. That's a byproduct of the Nationals finish from a year ago with Drag'n Thrust beating Mixtape narrowly in the title game. It was 14-12 in Frisco in the club finals last year. 2 years ago, Drag'n Thrust beat Mixtape 15-9 in the final. But those rankings aren't necessarily an indication of who's the favorite coming into this game. I'm not sure it would be an upset if either side were to win. Seattle won their pool, Minneapolis did not.
Agreed.
Drag'n Thrust's dynasty began in 2013 with a 13-11 win over Polar Bears in the finals. And just a pretty throw and an unfortunate drop in the back of the end zone. Aronson's been playing so well, but there's an error.
Was about to comment on how well he's been fitting into the Drag'n Thrust O-line. I don't know that he needed to attack it quite as strongly as he did. Perhaps he started taking his eyes off the disc to look down at the back line to worry about towing the line and staying in bounds.
It's a great catch by Henry Fan. Here's Jesse Bolton, who's been quiet so far, largely a result of Drag'n Thrust's smooth offense. It's the first turnover for Minneapolis since the 5th point. This is obviously the 13th point.
Coming in on 1.
There's Bolton, Carleton College, in the Seattle youth scene where he's come from. Bailey flicks it for Fan, and to the end zone. Seattle has its first break. Mixtape back within 1.
The Mixtape defense showing some signs of life, taking full advantage of the unfortunate and unforced Drag'n Thrust turnover.
Seattle 6.
A nice finish there, some cheeky red zone throws. And Nguyen is there to haul it in. I think Mexstroth even got a hand on that disc right before Nguyen was able to pancake it.
Lonnie Nguyen in her 2nd year with Mixtape. 22 years young, out of Seattle University. Now, Seattle Mixtape came to Nationals 2 years ago as Seattle Mixed. They didn't expect to make Nationals that year. They were a team that had some fun together, played a lot of mini in Seattle, and all of a sudden came the Nationals and put everything together and made the semis and made the finals, and all of a sudden, well, they were obliged to come to the US Open the next year. So they came to the Open last year and went all the way to the finals of that, went all the way to the finals of Club Nationals 2015. They like to say we come in 2nd place a lot, and that's something they're hoping to change. Certainly nothing to be ashamed of when you're 2nd best in the nation over and over again. But eventually those silver medals look a little more gray than shiny, bright silver.
Yep. So my ruling is that disc is down. It's turnover. It's defensive ground touch to start.
Another unforced turnover from the Drag'n Thrust O-line. A chance here for Seattle to convert a 2nd consecutive break. This defensive unit is stacked with El Salam on the line, and he's got the disc.
Right through the hands of the intended target in the end zone. Missed opportunity there to tie it up. Seattle has turned on the defense a little bit here, making these throws just a little bit tougher.
Coming in on 1.
Every fan on the mark.
Before the stoppage, just trying to squeeze it through a very tight space.
And I believe the Drag'n Thrust defender might have gotten a hand on
I
that.
think you're right. Stall count rising. Ancio. Nice vision to blade it across the field, and it's dropped by Clark.
Drag'n Thrust turnover.
Bert Abbott, one of the captains, and a nice grab there. El Salam. He had Pat Niles in his pocket. Low throw. Drag'n Thrust calls it down. Seattle presumably thinks it's up. And what does the orange team think?
So down. It was up. My hand was underneath. So
The orange opinion is the one that matters most in these situations.
Nice quick resolution there.
Bird Abbott with the disc for Seattle.
You think you might want to observe one day, Ian?
I think I need to realize that my playing days might be behind me before
I mean like 35, 40 years down the road. When you're done winning Grandmasters tournaments.
Hey, if that's the way to stay closest to the action, that might be the best option for me.
That is the philosophy of a lot of observers. They say it's the best seat in the house. Mixtape looking to tie, but this is coming back.
pick
I
call.
believe Ancio got picked there in the end zone.
Lexi Garrity with the disc for Mixtape.
Should I come in on 3? Like I said, 3. So come in on 3?
Coming in on 3. Coming in on 3.
Coming in on 4.
Lexi Garrity marked by Claire Oakley. Shoots into the end zone. The equalizer for Mixtape. Henry Fan just has a knack for getting open in those small spaces. 7-all and a point for half coming up.
And we've seen a number of those inside shots resulting in goals in the first half for both teams. I think they do well to adjust their red zone defense, perhaps make their marks a little flatter so that it's not quite as easy to get those gut shots off, and maybe challenge and force them to convert on the around throws, which might be a little tougher in this wind.
Well, the last 2 goals not involving Khalif El Salam, but both involving Henry Fan.
And he's another capable member of this team, known more for his handling skills than downfield prowess, but not to be overlooked on this Mixtape roster.
See Brad Hauser, Khalif El Salam, Lauren Patty all out on this line. Henry Fan will play the final point before the half. Jay Drescher playing an offensive point for a change. Emily Bacon, Sarah Mextroff,
On the pole for Mixtape.
Jacob Lean, Jamie Glader, very, very quick. Brian Strings, Schoenrock out there too.
Be interesting to see who El Salam matches up on.
He's got Drescher in the middle of the stack. Schoenrock hits Mextroff, who launches long. Floating to the back of the end zone and caught. Jamie Glader makes the catch to take it to half, 8-7. Seattle will receive to start the second half, so a virtual tie into the break. You can almost say it's 8-7, we're tied at the half.
We're on serve, but
Take 10, everybody.
I don't think Seattle's going to be happy with how easy and quick this score was for the Minneapolis offense. 3-4 throws, none of them contested. An easy hold for the Drag'n Thrust offense.
Mextroff with a beautiful toss. She's added to her game, refining her technical skills over the past several seasons. Mextroff picks up the assist. And it's 8-7, Drag'n Thrust leading Mixtape at the half. Down in the field, we have Cam Bailey in his 9th season with Seattle Mixtape. Cam, you guys once again got off to the slow start. You were down 5-2. How do you turn it around to get it back to a virtual tie here in the half?
You know what? We woke up today, it seemed kind of odd. No smog, no barking from the dog. Lexi cooked a breakfast with no hog, but you know what? We're here. We're doing the darn thing. Shout out to Camp Kai. Let's go. What up, ESPN?
Cam, I know you were involved in a number of plays in the red zone defensively, having a chance at a couple of discs. Are you feeling like you're in the right place, just really close to making plays, and things need to start clicking a little more in the second half?
You hit it on the head. I'm hurting. I'd like to get a couple of those. They were kind of 50-50 balls. I got to make a play out there. But life ain't a track meet. It's a marathon. Forget the cemetery that we're getting buried on. We're going to keep doing the darn thing.
Well, Cam,
Daddy!
Cam,
Pops, sorry.
Sounds like you've got a mixtape that you're working on back home, so we'll let you get back to your team and talk it over to get
Phil
ready for
Paul.
the second half. Appreciate the
Most
time,
of the
Cam.
time, show me your Johnsons!
Wow. It'd be nice if he brought some energy to the interview. That's the one thing he lacked. 8-7 at the half. Drag'n Thrust leading Mixtape. This has been the national title game the past 2 years. Both teams looking strong again today. It's the opening weekend of the 2016 Triple Crown Tour that will culminate in Rockford, Illinois for the club championships this fall. At the half, Minneapolis 8, Seattle 7. Evan Lepler back with Ian Toner, and there were a fair share of highlights in that first half, Ian.
Khalif El Salam, the human highlight machine, made a number of impacts for Seattle, but starting with Minneapolis Drag'n Thrust, Sarah Ancio finding Greg Aronson over the top for the first hold of the game.
And a turnover-free start, then a quick break as Khalif El Salam had the mistake, and then Drescher going over the top to Schoenrock.
Not a look that's always going to work, but with a receiver like Schoenrock, it might be slightly more high percentage than others might think.
Was there one thing that you can point to as to why Seattle got back into the game? They were down 5-2, and then they outscored Minnesota 5-2 to get it back at 7-all.
I think it was the unforced turnovers from the Minneapolis offense, not taking care of the disc. And after turnovers, or even before turnovers, when you've got a receiver like El Salam on the turn, they're going to make you pay and capitalize on those opportunities, as we see 2 instances of him getting the better of Drescher in the first half.
There was a level of testiness to that matchup that will certainly be worth following as the second half continues. Collision there, El Salam reading it well. He was involved in the first 5 goals for Seattle, 1 assist and 4 scores. But Minnesota able to take half. Sarah Mextroff with a really fine first half performance for Seattle. She almost caught the D there. And then at the very end, Schoenrock to Mextroff and showing off the backhand.
No fear as the mark is closing in. Puts it on the money, right up against the back line, where only Glader can get it. And Drag'n Thrust takes half, 8-7.
Seattle will receive to start the second half. If they can hold, we will be all square. Brilliant weekend for Ultimate here in Kingston, Rhode Island. Second half of this first mixed semifinal when we come back. A slight breeze, but pleasant playing conditions here in Rhode Island, not too far from the coast. Drag'n Thrust leading Mixtape 8-7 at the half, and we are joined down on the field by Tallis Boyd. And Tallis, for the first time we've gotten a chance to chat since you guys won a national championship in Raleigh. I know that was a special moment for you. How has the transition been to coaching Drag'n Thrust, a team that you used to play for?
It's definitely been an adjustment. You know, going from the end of one season to the beginning of another, it's somewhat of a mental shift. So the way we call lines, the things we're looking at, where we're at in the process, you know, is a shift. But it's been fun. It's fun to be back with the crew. I've missed them.
Tallis, you guys were in the driver's seat here in the first half, had a multiple break lead. Seemed like a few unforced errors that kind of gave Mixtape some more opportunities. What do you credit those to? Is that early season chemistry, adjustment, nerves, things like that?
It's probably a combo. I think part of it is the wind is popping a little bit, which leads to some weird things. We had a turf that I think the wind just took away. But yeah, you know, it's early season. I think some of it's chemistry, not knowing necessarily where people are going. Not too worried about it. It's been the thing that has been sort of our challenge all weekend. So, you know, we're trying to clean that up. And I think we'll do that in the second half.
We saw Sarah Mextroff air it out for the score to take it to half. How has she grown as a player these past couple of years?
It's been really fun to watch. She, her understanding of the game, I think, has really improved. She's always had the athletic ability to take over, and now she not only has that, but she has the kind of mental understanding and experience to sort of direct and be a great leader for our team.
Last thing, I know you used to play with these guys. Any urge of you to get back on the field, or are you a sideline commander from now on?
For now, I'm just coaching. It's fun to be with them. You know, playing takes a lot of time, and coaching also does, but in a different way, and I really love coaching. So for now, just a coach.
All right, Tallis, good luck in the second half.
Thanks,
if you
guys.
pull it out, we'll talk to you in a little bit. Tallis Boyd, head coach of Minneapolis Drag'n Thrust. He won a couple championships as a player. He won a championship as a college coach. Could Drag'n Thrust four-peat? We'll find out. Well, in the first half, Khalif El Salam certainly left his fingerprints on it. Greg Aronson, a couple of goals, and Sarah Mextroff involved with 3 scores for Drag'n Thrust. Seattle, a little bit more centrally focused with Fan and El Salam so very involved. Obviously, Drag'n Thrust using its depth a little bit more.
That's what Drag'n Thrust is known for. Not a one-man show, a great team unit. El Salam doing his best to keep Mixtape in the game, mount that late first half comeback.
Well, the story of the first half might be the fact that on the third point, there were 7 turnovers The other 14 points, there were only 8 total turnovers combined by both teams. Seattle Mixtape in the white. Revere attacking that disc, playing through the contact, and now a foul called as Glader collided with Revere. Brian Schoenrock is on Khalif El Salam this point. Drescher chasing Hauser downfield. Here's Dominic Cavallero. Whistles one to Walton. Needs a reset. Doesn't get it cleanly, and it did not work. Although a stoppage, not sure if it was an injury or a foul. Or both.
Like Cavallero shaking up on the play.
A high stall push pass.
Okay. Why are you
trying to go field and couldn't get through?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my body's in your space, but I turned around on the disc and was still in your space. So
okay.
You're both competing for the same disc.
You want to play this contest or you're coming to me?
I want to go to you.
Okay. So, observer ruling calls a foul. The observer ruling is there's no foul. Yep. So stay.
Oh, sorry, I don't know the rules.
Yep. So it's a ground touch to start. Cool. 10.
Interesting that was the ruling. I saw a little forearm from Column that might have prevented the Mixtape receiver from making a play, but not sure if the observer had the same view from their vantage point, and another unforced offensive error.
And
from
quickly,
Minneapolis.
That's a tie game. Walton to Williams, 8-all.
Daniel Walton with the end zone from Lucy Williams. And the Mixtape score. We're all tied up at 8.
And that reset perhaps a bit low, but still did go off Carr's hands, and then Williams is able to go easily to the force side.
Chance there, but unable to grab it. Alicia Carr back on Drag'n Thrust after a year off. So it's 8-all. We've got ourselves a game to 7. Both these teams have had some memorable second halves this weekend, and especially Drag'n Thrust against AMP. The reason they're in the semifinals was a comeback from, was it an 8-3 halftime deficit?
Mountain of a deficit, and Jay Drescher instrumental in that comeback. Drag'n Thrust has found themselves trailing at halftime as well.
Several times.
Needing to shake off some of these execution errors.
Drag'n Thrust beat AMP 12-11, also wins over Union, Polar Bears, and Panama. A loss to Metro North in their season opener, which has to be a jarring way to start. Although we'll see a team next round that also lost its first game of the tournament and made semis in Seattle Sockeye. That's inbounds near the goal line. Pat Niles takes a timeout. Each team gets 2 timeouts in the half, so Drag'n Thrust uses one early here on the goal line, looking to retake the lead.
First timeout of the second half.
Jesse Bolton was closing there, but didn't quite have the angle to get around Niles or make a play on that disc.
Tough throw that Hemish made, but he put it in the one spot Niles could catch it. And we'll see how Drag'n Thrust isolates the space coming out of this timeout. Seattle Mixtape 5-0 through pool play, 15-7 over Ambiguous Gray, 15-13 over Noise, close game, and then a 15-12 win over Boston Slow White, who's playing in the other semifinal against Metro North. Wild Card and Voltaje from Columbia, the other wins. As you can see, the results of Pool B. Mixtape strolling through undefeated, but not untested.
Mixtape semifinal. Metro North currently up 2-1 over slow white.
You guys split squads? 10 seconds!
What do you see from the spacing here, Ian?
A lot of space for the reset. A lot of receivers pushed back to the back of the end zone. And that dump swing is exactly what was expected and sneaks in there to Lien.
Clark to Lean for the score after Niles initiated play.
Some pretty textbook dump swing, red zone goal line offense. And Bolton was there, but just couldn't pull the trigger to get in front of Lean as he made that comeback cut.
Good fake there from Clark. And Austin Lean with his second goal.
Yeah, that fake from Clark really got Fan to commit.
Yep.
And bite on the possibility of that inside shot.
Austin's been a captain for Drag'n Thrust in the past, but there's been the evolution of leadership, which is a healthy thing for most club teams. Mextroth, McCain, and Schoenrock are the current captains, with Jake Henderson back as coach. Tallis Boyd joining the staff as well. And Mike Clark steady as he goes. Carleton College product, originally from California.
Jay Drescher on the pull for Drag'n Thrust.
Mixtape will look to answer. Trailing by 1 here in the second half. The winner will play tomorrow in the mixed championship game. This is the first leg of the 2016 Triple Crown Tour. El Salam bids and just falls shy of the disc. He got a hand on it, could not stop the rotation.
I think it was the ground contact that was really his undoing here. He had it in his hand, and then as soon as he hit the ground, that kind of impact and momentum forced it out of his hands.
If he had caught that, might have been a SportsCenter top 10 nominee. Collum and Jacob Lean playing catch in the end zone. A massive shot hauled in. Claire Oakley resets to Schoenrock. His bright yellow cleats, and there was contact on the swing. It appears no call, and that's a turnover.
And I think that was contact between two Drag'n Thrust players. No pick or foul, just unfortunate spacing for two teammates.
Could be a pivotal mistake. It was an opportunity to break. Hauser marked by Drescher. And here's El Salam. To Revere. Cavallero. El Salam. 9-all.
We take a look at this replay. We're going to start with the turnover as Drescher and his teammate run into each other in the backfield. No calls or anything can get them out of that one. But as Cavallero catches this, watch, he's going to follow El Salam from his peripheral vision as he streaks all the way up to the break side. That was his number one option as soon as he caught that soft little dishy pass. He sees him streaking up the break side, gives him a second to get up to speed, and then puts it out to space for him. Really challenging situation for Schoenrock to defend the full width of the end zone there.
Nice touch pass to space from Dominic Cavallero. So we're on serve here in the second half. Big game on the stat sheet for Khalif El Salam, who is still just 21 years of age. And he's been on the scene for quite a while, coming up from the Seattle youth scene. Here's a deep huck looking for Ancio. Mextroth nearby too. And the throw is as perfect as could be.
And comparatively, Evan, again, we're seeing the Drag'n Thrust offensive points being more efficient than the Seattle Mixtape points. The Mixtape offense needing to work much harder. As we see at this replay, Ancio and Mextroth uncontested.
How about this throw from Niles?
On the money, not sure if the mark wasn't set appropriately there. So that very well could have been to the break side.
And really not much Lauren Patty nor Lexi Garrity could do. So Ancio with another goal. Sarah Ancio didn't find ultimate until pretty late. Went to University of Minnesota, but she was a Division III All-American shot putter before that. Also played basketball. Started playing ultimate when Patty King got her involved. It was her second year of grad school, and she's been playing ever since.
No contest. Disc coming in on 1. Cavallero with the disc for Mixtape. Jacob Lean on the mark.
Cavallero thought about it. Takes the under for Dare. A tumbling downfield collision between Glader and Revere. Both of them pop back up all right. Revere's got it now. Just across midfield. Tough catch on the sideline made by El Salam. Cavallero centers to Revere. Quick reset. And a very entertaining first semifinal in the mixed division. And Seattle has made a couple more mistakes than Minneapolis.
Great dump defense there from Erica Bacon. Making Williams move back and forth repeatedly, laterally, not on the same page with her thrower. Results in a turnover. Lean with the disc on the sideline.
That's Jacob Lean looking long, and it's caught in the end zone for the break.
Aronson's not going to drop that one, and again, another unorthodox, unconventional rip over the top across the stack. Normally a throw that gives more defenders a chance at making a play on it, but Lean starts with it on the sideline, sizes up his option, puts it on the money.
It's a tough throw. Plays through the contact as well. He may have called contact, which would reset the stall count. It's a nice rule change, because if he calls a foul there, that throw probably doesn't happen.
Exactly. Hauser's got time to reassess his positioning, be aware of the cross-field threat to Aronson. Big fan of the contact rule. Enables, offensive flow to keep going, while also gaining the same advantage of a foul and resetting the stall count.
First break of the second half belongs to Drag'n Thrust.
Jay Drescher on the pull for Drag'n Thrust.
Aronson has had a big game. This pull from Drescher is not going to come back in, so it'll be good field position to start.
Out of bounds on the pole.
I was thinking on the way over here today, Ian, that oftentimes when a team plays in the big stage in the semifinals on ESPN, there can be some nerves. Both these teams, though, this is just old hat for them.
I think it's also familiarity with the opponent that's also raising the level of comfort and intensity.
Big rip from El Salam, floating in traffic. And it's caught from the trailing man. Oh, Daniel Walton came from out of nowhere to sneak in for the score. Seattle with an easy gift of a goal, 11-10. Where did Walton come from?
Equally as impressive is the fact that El Salam got that throw off, ripping off a huge inside-out backhand, despite the fact that the mark was forcing flick. He pump fakes once and gets that huge throw off on the inside lane past Schoenrock, who has a very big mark in his own right.
That was the game plan all along, right? Jen Cogburn, you fake everybody out. Walton, you be 20 yards away from the play and then swoop in.
And this is why your coaches always tell you, follow the play, play until the final whistle. Seen plenty of examples of unintended receivers saving the day for their teams.
So El Salam picks up another assist. That's his Team USA 5 Ultimate little hoodie that he's wearing underneath his jersey. Martha Lean back to her husband Austin.
Nice junk look here from Seattle, stifling any receivers in isolation for Drag'n Thrust.
Austin Lean to Hemish, who launches deep. Ancio's wide open, and she's caught it in the end zone for the easy Minneapolis goal.
And that's the, these junk looks tend to be double-edged swords. On the one hand, you can slow an offense down and get them out of their primary look really easily and quickly. But then once there's that one throw that kind of gets through their objective, and if your team can't transition quickly, then more often than not, you're going to have at least one defender out of position, leaving a gaping option for the offense. And that's exactly what happened here.
Another goal for Ancio, the Iowa City, Iowa native. And a pretty good rip from Hemish. Sure, she was open, but he made sure that only she could catch it.
He's had a number of good deep shots today. A very reliable handler for this Drag'n Thrust squad.
And that's what makes this Drag'n Thrust team tough. You say he's a handler, he almost always starts downfield, but he's that, Cassidy Rasmussen style initiation cutter who will get the disc and then capable of launching it long.
And I think those hybrid players, versatile players, are becoming more and more valuable in today's game.
Absolutely.
10.
So Seattle's going to have to break a couple times to win this thing. He touched the disc, so he has to initiate play from the back line of the end zone.
As we take a look at the wide frame here, this Mixtape stack is awfully deep.
And it leads to a turnover. Well, you don't expect to start the possession that deep in your own end zone. And it was just a crucial mistake on the reception of the pull. Jacob Lean gets a reset to Alicia Carr, who breaks the mark. Slicing the flick into the end zone, caught by Danny Collum. 13-10 Dragon.
Well, we haven't passed the point of no return, but Drag'n Thrust is once again in the driver's seat in this half as that underthrow goes just out of Williams' reach. And Carr redeeming herself with a nice inside shot break throw in the red zone. Again, I really think both teams would do well to flatten their marks and challenge these inside shots a bit more, because they've been the bread and butter for both offenses in the red zone so far this game.
Timeout called by Seattle Mixtape. You see Charlie Mercer in the blue jersey. She'll be playing for Seattle Riot later today. She is the unique task of coaching a mixed team and playing on a women's team, both at the elite levels.
I don't know how she does it. She's told us that Riot does have priority, but she's got a lot of experience coaching a number of the men's players from Major League Ultimate, and they have invited her to be a part of the coaching staff. She's gone to great lengths to schedule team practices around other Riot events to make sure that she can be in attendance and offer her guidance and expertise when the team gathers.
And she is an administrative genius when it comes to Ultimate. She helps with the USA Ultimate Club Working Group. She's one of the people running Pro Flight Finale. She's the Northwest Regionals Director, and she saved Ian Toner's butt back in the day, and I know you're excited to give her the credit because you were almost eliminated from regionals before they started one year.
This is very true. Back in 2012, she was one of the regional coordinators in the Atlantic Coast, and I was a senior at the University of Virginia, and our team leadership had kind of dropped the ball on making sure that our roster was submitted in time for the scheduling deadline, and our team happened to be on spring break with an hour to go until the deadline, and Charlie Mercer calls my cell phone and says, hey, you know, I don't know if you're the captain, but I know you're involved with Virginia Ultimate, and we don't have your roster yet, so we had to scramble in the midst of spring break to get our roster submitted on time, and we got an automatic notification saying that all the paperwork was filed within 30 seconds of the deadline, so we were that close to not being able to compete in the college series that season.
You guys had some time, although that is kind of the definition of a last-minute entry.
Eternally grateful to Charlie for giving us that heads up and helping us compete that year.
How did regionals go for you? As El Salam makes the catch over Schoenrock to make it 13-11.
Really doesn't matter which defender they put on Khalif. Jay Drescher, Brian Schoenrock, he's going to come down with the disc no matter what.
That's Minneapolis 13.
Another assist for Cavallero.
And when Cavallero throws that, El Salam isn't necessarily open. He and Schoenrock are step for step. And that's just another 50-50 ball, which, as you mentioned earlier, Evan, are becoming more like 70-30, 80-20, 90-10 balls for Khalif.
So Cavallero, another assist. El Salam, another score to make it 13-11. Drag'n Thrust will put the offense back on the field. By the way, how did that regionals go for you?
Not the way I wanted my college career to end. That year, Night Train ended up losing to NC State Wolfpack. Brandon Jones and a number of other players had a strong season and took us out in the quarterfinals.
Austin Ling shoots it. Ancio nearby, and it's Mextroth who comes in to clean up the trash and then throws it away.
A great read by Mextroth. Again, we see the value of following the play, but not sure if she was expecting her receiver to take a different angle or she couldn't properly read the wind when she put this disc up.
Certainly a lot of great players have seen their college careers end at regionals. was a heartbreaker for several University of Minnesota Grey Duck players back in 2013, and they were one of the top seeds in the nation, couldn't get through their region.
The L2 World #1 team heading into the series.
He's taking an injury? Injury. Stop.
Josh Hemish shaken up.
White, do you need one?
So as the Drag'n Thrust player takes the injury, Mixtape also has the opportunity to sub out one player.
Sarah. It's a little sore. Yeah, Clark, it's gonna be you. Stay.
So Henry Fan on the reset. Just a few too many turnovers from Seattle in their own territory especially have been crippling. Minnesota looking to get within one. Lean breaks the mark. Great defense though from Mixtape. Cogburn got a hand in the passing lane.
And that's great team defense there. Henry Fan sells out on the mark to prevent the around throw, leaves that inside lane exposed, and then Cogburn gets there to close it down and get the block.
Unfortunately, while we're showing the replay, Seattle turns it right back. That's the definition of a quick turnover as Lean shoots it to the end zone, and it is tipped up and almost landed on Ancio. It was knocked away by Cogburn, and we'll see if we have a call.
We see Bolton and El Salam closing, but neither of them can get there. I think Cogburn did have her hand on the disc.
I did not have possession, but I definitely had my hand on the disc when I was getting rolled into.
I think it was bobbling the whole time we were all fighting for it.
But it's still bobbling, but I still was.
So you're saying that the contact is why you weren't able to get possession? Okay.
I feel
It's a tough call.
I felt it, yeah, it was really junky. I think.
Do you want to make the call?
Sure, yeah. So no foul. Yeah. Okay, so the call's foul. Observer ruling is that there's no foul. Yep. So it's going to be a ground touch to start.
Yep. You're good? Yep. 3, 2, 1.
That was a very tough call, and here's why. Cogburn landed on Ancio. The disc was still in the air. If Cogburn wasn't on top of Ancio, she would have had a play on the disc, but does that make it a foul?
And you know, at first glance, I thought Cogburn's contact was what had forced Ancio to the ground, but it looked like Ancio's trajectory after jumping kind of took her to the ground on her own. So I do think perhaps they got the call right in that sense, as we have another contested up-down situation.
okay. Waving off call. No call.
There, everyone's calling it up, and it looks like that's correct. And Mextroff filches that little 10-yard pass up the lane. El Salam colliding with Drescher, big contact, may have been uncatchable. Drescher might be hurt, and I'm not sure how this will get resolved.
First instinct was it looked like El Salam initiated contact with his shoulder into Drescher. But let's take a closer look here. He's taking the outside lane. And I think Drescher was planting to try and go outside, and El Salam's body was there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Are you taking where
now
you're
they've
staying?
both, now Drescher and El Salam each have one dangerous bit into each
We need
other's
the
back
players
this
talk
game.
first.
I have a position. So you were cutting this way, and you were on the side, and I was on this side. So in order for you to come this way, you had to go through me. I already had a position.
If it's coming back.
And I think you came into me.
I beat you probably 6. Well, I was cutting this way, and I thought I had equal 50-50 chance for the disc, and you bid into me and knocked me over before I could make my play on the disc. So, okay.
All right. Foul's being called.
Soft cap.
The ruling is it is a foul.
It is coming in here.
You're taking an injury? No, you can just.
You can take your injury.
Just stay with Drag'n Thrust.
Kind of surprised that El Salam contested that one because he had to know that he initiated contact with Drescher. There was no doubt about that.
Here's another look.
Because the foul was on the catch, it's your possession. Yes.
It was a... Jay Drescher has had shoulder injuries before. And it looked like a foul on the mark. It's Greg Aronson who came into the game for Drescher. It's a critical point here. Huge difference between 13-12 or 14-11. Shooting it into traffic, and El Salam smacks it away. What a game he's had.
Is there a single jump ball that he hasn't gotten a hand on this game, Evan?
Not one I can remember. And El Salam rips it deep with a backhand on the restart. Caught by Fan about 50 yards downfield. The final 20 floated for Bailey. 13-12. Seattle within one.
And Bailey with the dunk to boot. Taking a page out of Tony Gonzalez's book.
That's Minneapolis 13, Seattle 12.
Great huck from El Salam. We saw a very similar outside-in backhand going up that sideline from Jay Drescher a few points ago. And Fan with the soft inside touch to Bailey to finish it.
You make that throw, you got to make sure it comes back in bounds, because if you throw it out and it never comes back in, it's dragging disc on the goal line. But 2 throws to go 70 yards.
I think Mixtape's traditional O-line wishes that it had that efficiency.
Pretty good hops from Bailey. Not sure what's better, his hops or his beats. 29 years old from Woodinville, Washington. And now the Drag'n Thrust offense with a little pressure on its shoulders. Up by 1, but looking to hold and maintain control of the game. On the sideline, Jay Drescher is talking with Tallis Boyd. He's flexing his left arm and shoulder. No longer being looked at by the trainer. We'll see whether or not he feels good enough to return. Jake McCain resets for Bacon. Oh, and a tremendous poke. Henry Fan swoops in, comes up with the interception. Lefty backhand over the defender and into the end zone for the score. Walton has it for Seattle, and we're tied at 13. What a crazy turnaround here. It was 13-10 just a few minutes ago.
Great recognition by Fan. Peels off the stack to go help Walton, who was getting beat up line. Runs the quick give and go on the turn. I'm sure that lefty backhand gave a few of his teammates a heart attack, but that was the big man Walton comes down with it.
That was a goaltimate throw right there for the score.
No doubt.
Maybe a little too high for a goaltimate hoop. So Fan with back-to-back assists. Jay Drescher will remain on the sideline. He is not on the offensive line here for Minneapolis. Henry Fan was quiet at the outset of this game because it was just the El Salam show. But in the second half especially, he has really been involved, which is not a huge surprise. He's one of the guys, when you look at the roster, you think he's going to be a big deal. And there's Drescher holding that left shoulder.
I believe we've got a timeout on the field. Mixtape doesn't have anyone on the line just yet. Taking a second to get some shade and recover before the next point starts.
Go with that. Okay. Cap is in effect. So point cap to 15.
So you heard the observer. It is hard to 15. It's a game to 2.
Seattle, soft cap's in effect, so it's a point cap to 15.
We have
Yep.
cap.
And this is a situation that teams and coaches around the country simulate at practices every weekend. 0-0 game to 2, 0-0 game to 3.
They went on during the point.
And pit the offense against the defense in those practices. And here, we see it actually manifesting itself in a semifinal situation.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we have some time to give.
Ancio, Oakley, and Bacon are the 3 females for Minneapolis.
20 seconds.
Lean, Clark, Hemish.
And Bailey on the pole prediction.
And Pat Niles, the males for Drag'n Thrust in the offense. Henry Fan really busting to get downfield. To the far side, Bacon underneath Oakley. Basic vertical stack for Drag'n Thrust. Trying to jam it up that far sideline. Now they get a much needed dump swing. Austin Lean to Clark. Breaks the mark of El Salam, but he could not connect with Ancio.
One of the few times that inside shot has failed the throwers in the red zone. Just a little too much power for Ancio to be able to run onto it.
Maybe El Salam didn't get the hand block, but certainly the presence of that mark made that a tougher throw, like being right on the shooting hand of a jump shooter in basketball. And Fan up the line for Bolton, could not find him. Pivotal moments in this semifinal here in Rhode Island, and Drag'n Thrust able to punch it in. Bacon from Hemish, 14-13.
Again, Seattle gets the turnover and then unfortunately just gives it right back. Drag'n Thrust has been very efficient in the red zone today, so no surprise to see them converting here as they take the 14-13 lead.
Good bid from Abbott, but nothing she could do. And Josh Hemish, a great example of why this Drag'n Thrust team has been so steady for the past few years. You know, not really considered a star, but just emblematic of this team's consistency ever since they first won it all in 2013. Wonder if Drag'n Thrust is secretly devastated that they were not going back to Frisco, because they never lost in an elimination game in Frisco, Texas.
Well,
they are close to home.
I was going to say, the drive is certainly shorter this time around.
Quick update from our other semifinal of the mixed division.
So Seattle back on offense. Needs to hold and then break to win. You see the familiar faces. Hauser, Cavallero, Walton, El Salam, Claire Revere, Lucy Williams, and Lonnie Wynn. Cavallero will experience the mark of Column. 3 male handlers for Seattle. A lot of female downfield cutters in their swirling horizontal stack.
Lean called a travel, so it's going to be Walton's disc with no stall count here.
El Salam shook free of strings up line, looking for Revere. Revere can't come up with it.
That's a connection we would have expected to see more of from the start of this game.
I'll give Jamie Glader credit. She had the position, held strong.
Great job by Glader. Revere doing the best she could to make a play. She got her hand on the disc, but so hard to reach over the defender and swoop that in.
Foul on the mark, no contest, coming in 0.
Great matchup here on the turnover. Revere going toe-to-toe with Sarah Mextroth.
They return to the center of the stack. Bacon playing catch with Collum. A bullet caught by Mextroth. A year ago in the semifinals of this tournament, Mixtape got the better of Drag'n Thrust. Of course, Dragon had the last laugh, winning in the national title game for the 2nd straight year over Mixtape, the 3rd straight year overall. And a turnover there, Glader out of the reach of strings.
Quick call.
This has not been the cleanest semifinal you'll ever see. We've had at least 1 turnover in 6 consecutive points down the stretch here. A lot of momentum swings, that's for sure. El Salam versus Schoenrock. And Schoenrock, for the first time, gets the better of Khalif.
Great job by Schoenrock, known as Strings, to close, maintain that inside position, and we see a little push there from Khalif. But that throw didn't quite give Khalif the chance he needed to make a play on that disc.
Throw to space. Caught by Dragon. Schoenrock, center of the field to Mextroth. It was Brett Sullivan who made the catch for Drag'n Thrust near the goal line to avoid the possible Callahan. But Hauser intercepts and finds Revere. Obviously the most critical point so far in the game. Stall count rising on Revere, gets it to El Salam past the bidding Schoenrock. And into the end zone to tie it up 14 all. We'll play 1 more point to decide it.
Mixtape score. We're all tied up at 14.
So Mextroth,
Double game point coming up next.
late in the stall count, trying to launch an IO shot across the stack, isn't able to connect. And that turnaround cut is becoming more and more common in today's game. You drive your defender all the way out to that 4-side line and just plant. And it's a nice, easy inside gut shot for the thrower to hit.
Much like a button hook in a pickup football game. So it's game to 15. Whoever scores next will play tomorrow in the title game. We could not have asked for much more for the first game of our quadruple header today.
Doesn't look like Jay Drescher is going to be back on the field for Drag'n Thrust here. So we see Niles,
Hamish, Austin Lean, Claire Oakley gets the nod. The winner plays at 10 a.m. tomorrow for the prestige of the U.S. Open.
Great coverage there by Henry Fan, shutting down the centering throw.
And that throw narrowly comes back in bounds, which is huge, but Seattle gets the D, which is also looming large. And Cogburn has quietly made several great plays.
Fearless throw by Niles up the line, and Cogburn closes that angle at the last second. Ancio forced to toe the line and not attack the disc as strongly as she may have liked. Great defense by Cogburn.
Six straight points that Drag'n Thrust has had a turnover, and that has opened the door for Seattle, which was trailing 13-10 5 points ago.
Coming in on 2.
El Salam has done it all. And there's a deep shot. And it's caught! Mixtape has not won yet. A travel was called on the throw. And you think this is going to stand. If not, an observer would have ruled already. Oh my.
So can you describe I didn't think that it was like a drag of the foot by any means. I thought she took an extra step to get into a position to throw it. Are you guys going to come to me, or is it going to be okay? Travel is called. Observer ruling no travel.
Well, it's an anticlimactic way for the game to finish, but Seattle closes on a 5-1 run to take it and knock out Minneapolis. Did she travel in?
I don't think so. I think that's just the natural pace of slowing her momentum. You know, I understand the argument more often than not. Today's travel calls are, hey, this person rounded the corner as they caught the disc and turned upfield, but I don't think that's what happened there. Great grab by Hauser. And Mixtape getting a bit of revenge here early in the season after last season's national championship loss. And they will play in the U.S. Open final tomorrow.
Bert Abbott to Brad Hauser. Well, you can see the enthusiasm from Seattle Mixtape. It's early in the year. They're back in the finals again. They hope to avoid coming in second again. We'll talk to Khalif when we come back. The 2016 U.S. Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar is now available at over 1,900 U.S. retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett Sports stores. By Discover Newport. Choose your own adventure in Newport, Rhode Island. Get the inside scoop on where to stay and where to play at discovernewport.org. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play Ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. The three-time defending national champs had a 13-10 lead and could not hang on. Seattle 15, Minneapolis 14. The star of the game was Mixtape's Khalif El Salam. He joins us down in the field with Jen Cogburn by his side. And Khalif, wow, what a fun game for the sport, and clearly contentious and competitive. What was it like battling in this one today?
I mean, all weekend we've talked about bringing the intensity and bringing the defensive pressure up as we go throughout the game, and this is definitely the game where you can see us trying to do that. We started low in the first half, but as we started getting broken, and as, you know, our backs started getting pushed up against the wall, we really tried to rally the troops and get behind each other and put all the trust in our legs to get those blocks back.
Khalif, you're always going to draw the other team's best matchup. No secret that things were a little testy between you and Jay Drescher throughout this game. Can you describe your relationship with him on the field?
I mean, I don't know him personally at all. Him as a competitor, I know that he's fiery. I know that he'll put his body on the line, and I will do the exact same. I'm a really competitive, fiery person, and if I think something doesn't go my way or something like that, I get really hot, and I think that he does the same. So if you guys want to watch two people really, really go at it, put Jay on me.
It's a fun matchup to watch. You guys have not been shy about talking about second place has been your primary spot. You got a chance to battle for first tomorrow. What's it going to take?
It's going to be different. It's going to be different. That's all I want to say. It's going to be different.
Well, congratulations on a great win today. Go rest up, and you got 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep, thank you. 2 chains.
Khalif El Salam joining us down in the field. They just had a spirit circle between the two teams. Fun game, 15-14. What a way to start our quadruple header of action. And what about this? We got Revolver and Sockeye coming up in less than just about half an hour away here from Rhode Island. We'll see whether Seattle Mixtape will face either Metro North or Slow White. We will find out how that is going to unfold as the day progresses. Either way, it should be a good game. And it looks like we got one more conversation down in the field. We'll see her with Seattle Riot later, but right now she's got a Mixtape shirt on. Charlie Mercer, congrats on the win. What was it like being on the sidelines for this one?
It's always a pleasure. They are a fiery, fantastic bunch of people that I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Tell us a little bit about the genesis of your decision to both coach and play in this mixed season, something I can't remember seeing before.
It was a decision that was made for me. I decided for a number of reasons not to continue coaching with the MLU Rainmakers because I, as a women's player, have issues with the professional leagues that are men's only, but I really respect a number of the players that are playing for that team, and I wanted a way to be able to continue to contribute to their growth. And I know this team has a ton of potential, and they're really working on their gender equity and inclusion with their women and how to be a team. They're a fantastic group of people. They support each other. They're a true family, and it's a great group to be a part of. The decision was made for me.
Charlie, you talked a lot before this game about how familiar both of these teams were with each other and, you know, how easy that made game planning. Did things go according to plan for you this game?
GB stands for Get Buckets. You know, Mixtape is a team that comes out big when it matters. Mixtape is a team that fights hard, has a lot of heart, has a lot of passion, and they go out there and they play for each other. And we always knew that this game was going to be a nail-biter. We knew that it was going to be contested. We knew it was going to be an intense battle for the entire way through, and that's what it was. It's always a great game, and we are excited to have come out on top early in the season. We're excited to see them again later this season.
Charlie, last thing, 3.5 hours away, you'll be wearing a Riot jersey against Molly Brown. What's the time frame like between then and now for you?
Going back to the hotel, meeting up with my team, having lunch with them, and then getting ready to get my own buckets.
Sounds good. We'll see you later today. Congrats on the win, and we know we'll see you tomorrow too.
Looking forward to it.
Charlie Mercer, the coach of Seattle Mixtape, a 15-14 win. And here's where everything turned. The Discraft play of the game. It was 13-12 at this point. Another break to tie it up with a Goldschmidt-esque lefty backhand over the top to Walton.
Henry Fan with the wonderful awareness, peeling off the stack, helping his defender who was beat and getting the block up line, and a great trust throw to Walton up to space. He reels that in. As you said, Evan, very reminiscent of a Goldschmidt throw.
So from 13-10 down, Mixtape scores 5 of the final 6. They've had strong finishes throughout the week, and today is no different. So for the second straight year, Mixtape is back in the title game at the U.S. Open. It will not be a team from Australia standing in their way this year. It'll be either Connecticut's Metro North or Boston's Slow White. So for Ian Toner, this is Evan Lepler saying so long from Meade Stadium in Kingston, Rhode Island. The final score, Mixtape 15, Drag'n Thrust 14. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. We thank you so much for being with us. This has been a presentation of ESPN. 1 down and 3 to go here on semifinal Sunday at the U.S. Open. Sockeye and Revolver You don't need to hear more than that. Coming up next.